Hi everyone, hope you're well today. Looking forward to our chanting, meditation and Dharma talk. So I think straight away we can do the Dharma talk before we continue later our commentary on the 8 verses of thought transformation. Of course, we're up to verse number 4, part 2. Mindful, aware, conscientious. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Titayampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Titayampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Titayampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddhist way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. Tayata gate para samgate bodhi soha. Tayata gate para samgate bodhi soha. So now get yourself in a comfortable position, ready to release the tension from the body. Starting from the tips of your toes, you work your way all the way up your body to your shoulders, and then to the tips of your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head in your own time. But we have to do it quickly, don't we? Because we don't have a long class. So take your time, and at the same time, Don't dawdle. That's a good word, isn't it? Dawdle. So releasing the tension all the way up your legs, up your upper torso, down to the tips of your fingers, and then back up to the top of your head. And now scan your body again just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And now bring your mind to your breath, and we will practice anapanasati, mindfulness of the breath. Focus on the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose, all the way into your lungs, and then back out your nose again. Breathing in, breathing out. That's all you have to focus on right now. So physically, all we need to do is breathe, mentally focus on the breath. As per usual, you can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths to 10. One in breath, then out breath is 1, and so on and so forth. But don't count past 10, and if you get distracted on the way to 10, go back to 1 at that time. Breathing in, breathing out, and focusing on your breath. If you have any mental agitation, such as thoughts, feelings, and so on, don't cling to them. Don't grasp at them. Also, don't try to force them away or deny them, but simply let them go naturally by replacing your mind back onto your breath. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by replacing your mind onto your breath more brightly. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves for engaging in the practice and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness, with the Maha, the great Metta, universal loving kindness, or in Sanskrit, Maitri. Fill yourself with friendship, goodwill, non-violence, forgiveness, acceptance, appreciation, gratitude. Utilize the visualization of white light filling your whole being, or white nectar, or just going with the feeling is fine too. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, family, and friends. And also to strangers. And those that you find difficult or even regard as enemies. May all of these people have happiness and its causes, be free from suffering and its causes. May they be peaceful. So filling them with so much love and kindness now, that they too radiated outwards. Now let's expand a little more and include all of the living beings around your immediate area. Radiate this loving kindness to all of them, whether they live in the waters, on the land, fly through the air, whether they're born from wombs or from eggs or moisture or through transformation. All sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born. Extend your loving kindness to all of them. Now also throughout your whole state and county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially, those that you're familiar with and have an affinity towards. You may know them from living there, or have friends there, or just know them from TV or the internet, studying about them in books and things. And also those countries that you're indifferent towards, whether you know about them a bit or not at all. And also those countries that for whatever reason you have some sort of negative feelings towards. So your loving kindness pervades throughout this whole planet, throughout all of the countries and the oceans, all the waterways, all the way to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. Extend your loving kindness. Everything is interconnected. We may call them different countries and think there's borders and things, but everything is joined together, all interconnected. And now radiate your loving kindness out beyond this planet alone, throughout the whole solar system. And all solar systems throughout the galaxy. And all galaxies throughout the universe and beyond. Until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. And once again, everything is interconnected, interdependent. This love and kindness which you have generated in your own mind now is everywhere, throughout infinite space. And now we can switch techniques to the giving-taking meditation to develop more and more compassion. Do your best to visualize, or at least think about, there being innumerable sentient beings in front of you, all sentient beings. Once again, whether weak or small, great or tall, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, whether you know about them or not. We're all interconnected. So initially we will take their suffering from them, relieve them from their suffering. And at the same time, melting away our ego and our self-centeredness. So as you breathe in, you take the black smoke from their heart centers into your own heart center. And like I said, melting away your ego and self-centeredness, at the same time relieving them of their sufferings. And as you breathe out, visualize the white light leaving your heart center and entering the heart centers of all sentient beings in front of you, giving away everything that you have an attachment towards, as well as all of your goodness, good karma, merit, good conditions, everything you find pleasing. You give to others to make them happy. So the white light leaves your heart center and enters the heart centers of all living beings as you breathe out. So breathing in the black smoke, breathing out the white light. So once again, let's practice like this in silence for a short while. So once again, feel very pleased with yourself. And now let's recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise, and may that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise, and may that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And so, like I said, we're up to verse number 4, of which we had part 1 last week. So today is obviously part 2. We may finish it today. We'll see how we go. And then for next week, I had a look at my notes, my point notes. Next week, we'll just take 1 week to do verse 5, and then another week to do verse 6, and then on to the verse number 7 for I'm not sure how long. And of course, verse number 8, which is the wisdom aspect. So as mentioned previously, during the commentary on the earlier verses, I covered a lot of the other verses. And also during the overview, I covered a lot of verse 5 and 6, I noticed. Okay, so I reviewed the videos. And so that's why the commentary for those verses are so short, because we've covered everything. It's okay to repeat, to reiterate, but not too much, I think, especially considering the classes are so short. All right, so last week, verse number 4, I will reiterate just here now. The verse refers to the special case of relating to people who are socially marginalized. So the verse is, whenever I meet a person of bad nature who is overwhelmed by negative energy and intense suffering, I will hold such a rare one dear. Because normally we would turn our back on these types of people. Though I did say to you, bringing up the Mahamangala Sutta, where the Buddha straight away advises you not to hang out with fools or bad people. That's in the beginning, okay? But as you work to develop this bodhicitta, we must help these beings. At the same time, if it's still too much for you, you don't have to do it physically. Remember, this is called thought transformation practice. We are transforming our mind, going from the self-centered mind to the mind of bodhicitta, okay? The great compassionate mind and the wise mind. All right, so I just thought I'd mention that again. So people, perhaps because of their behavior or their actions, maybe their criminal actions, corrupt actions, things like this, or their appearance, their destitution, either mental or physical illnesses of some sort, whether they're in prison, in hospitals, and due to their attitude, okay? So these types of beings may be very negative, they have a lot of negative karma, negative conditions. These are the beings that we really need to help. Especially if we are true practitioners of the bodhicitta, we must take special care of these types of people, okay? And it's like when we meet them, it's like we have found a precious treasure, as the verse says. If you find a precious treasure, what are you going to do with it? Discard it? Bury it again? Maybe not. Maybe you utilize it. Even utilize it for its beauty. Maybe it's got lots of jewels there. You can put it on your altar. Give it away to people that need it. Or cash them in. Get lots of money in the bank. And then unfortunately get taxed a lot. So, but you know what I mean? We're not going to throw this treasure away, are we? We're not going to throw it out into the ocean and say, I don't want that. So we need to perceive these beings like a treasure. So that's where we left it off last week. And I didn't mention, because we run out of time, but because they really need help on the one side, they really do need help, even if they're behaving like they don't need help, just really, aggressive or something like that. Really, that's just them putting up a front. They really do need the help, even if it's silent help, even if it's to do with vibes right now. But it also improves our practice of the great compassion, developing the bodhicitta mind. So from your own point of view, the beings like this help you to practice, help you to develop the paramitas, help you to be more generous, because normally with these types of beings, you don't want to be generous towards them. Helping you to be more moral, more patient, make more effort enthusiastically in the right direction, to develop more concentration, and then eventually realize the supreme wisdom. So these beings are indispensable, you could say. At the same time, I said, they need help. There's no doubting that, really. If you really sit back and think about why people behave badly, it's because they have this ignorance, and then they have a lot of attachment, aversion, lots of hopes, fears. Even if let's say they have $1 billion, they've got this $1 billion by being corrupt and everything. But now they are so paranoid about losing their $1 billion. And there will be lots of people that are similar to them out there that maybe want to kill them, maybe want to steal from them. They are in fear all the time, even if it doesn't look like it, and even if they've convinced themselves that they're not. Okay, so we need to bring some sort of relief to these beings if we can. At the same time, encouraging them to improve themselves, to give up on their greed, give up on their anger and hatred and so forth. Okay, and the beings, of course, that are destitute, for instance, don't have anything. I just give you an example of those that have a lot of material things. But there are many people that don't have anything and struggle week to week, or actually, like I said, don't have anything day to day, and really are living in what we can really know as poverty from a physical point of view, especially, but also from a mental point of view. All right, so help them as well as helping ourselves. Normally, we want to stay away from people like this, especially if they are harmful. Once again, I remind you, you do need to take care of yourself, to be cautious. Don't try to do too much, but also not too little. Okay, middle path. But normally, like I said, we want to turn away, turn our back on these people, because they actually make us angry a lot of the time too. It's very frustrating, at very least. Sometimes, especially if I use the example I gave before again, of people that have a lot of material wealth and behave so badly. I'm sure you can bring to mind even a few right now. I won't name anybody. But they really do need the help. Normally, we don't want to face them. So again, we are helping ourselves if we do, because even if it's from a distance right now, because we help ourselves to give up the habit of being angry, to perceive that actually they're not their true selves. Consider that all beings have the potential to attain enlightenment. Even if you just think of that like a concept, you can realize that it's not their true self. So you don't need to be angry. You don't need to be frustrated with them. And whenever that anger, that frustration rises, don't hang on to it. It's okay to perceive their bad behavior, not to condone it, but still realize they're sentient beings. We say, may all sentient beings be happy, don't we? It's not like, may those ones that we find pleasing be happy. Yeah, we start with that. May all of those indifferent, and all of those ones that don't like, may they suffer. That's the way we don't want to think like that. Yeah, we say all sentient beings be happy. So we need to train our mind, transform our mind to be like this more consistently, eventually all of the time. So instead of being repulsed, we should engage with them, take on the challenge to relate to them and help them. We have to challenge ourselves, don't we, to improve. Sometimes it's a step backwards. Collect ourselves, reflect more, and then we have to challenge ourselves more. It is quite challenging practicing the Dharma because we have these reinforced habits over so many lifetimes. And to once again utilize the example of a knot, the more you've tied that knot, the tighter you've tied that knot, the more difficult it is to undo the knot. So it's the same with our mental afflictions. Some of them are very thick. In fact, all of them are very thick, really, until we practice really well and start to improve our consistency with our practice, and then start to decrease these mental afflictions, replacing them with the positives, the wholesome qualities, and creating the conditions that we need on the path to enlightenment. Okay. Now, I slightly digress a little bit. Okay. First of all, I reiterate that little line there. So instead of being repulsed, we should engage with them, take on the challenge to relate to them and to help them. So relate to them. What does that mean? That means that you can have some understanding of why they're behaving like this by, first of all, contemplating your own mind and the reasons behind your behavior, maybe not now, but in the past, or even just possibilities. Okay. And then try to relate to them from their point of view. even though it's you doing the relation or the relating. So here we go. Give to the needy. I'm sure some of you have seen this writing of mine. It's not just mine. I mean, this is radiating the Dharma, isn't it? These words. I've seen similar words by people like His Holiness Dalai Lama, Master Shen Yen, Master Signon, and many other masters that do a lot of writing in the Dharma. And I guess this is just my own wording on the same concept, really. So give to the needy, care for the elderly, nurture and teach the young. Be kind to the nasty. Okay, so giving to the needy is an obvious thing. If you have the opportunity, whether it's giving of your time, of your good vibes, or your good qualities, kindness, or whether it's giving material aid or protection from fear, or giving the Dharma, we need to give to those that are in need. But this need may not just be material need. It may also be to be uplifted mentally, and also in relation to the people that have these bad attitudes. Okay, they really need it as well. The next line says, care for the elderly. In fact, I like to use the word elders. Maybe that sounds more respectful, isn't it? We say elderly. But actually, now that I think about it, I should have written elders. We should have respect for the elders. We know some of us are getting more advanced age. We know that we can't do things that we used to be able to do physically and even mentally, in certain circumstances. So we do need the help from others. But you, as you are right now, can help others, whether they're your compatriots, elders, or whether they are actually really older than you or in more need of your help because maybe they don't have the physical conditions you have right now or the mental conditions that you have right now. So elders, we need to respect the elders and we need to care for them as they have cared for us throughout time, whether they've known us in this life or not. Once again, bring to mind all beings have been our mother, all beings have been our father or relative of some sort. We are all interrelated in this way. How else would we have some sort of feelings towards beings? Either attachment and liking them. We've created this karmically. Also, indifference even created karmically. And even some sort of dislike created karmically. We have all loved each other. We have all hated each other. We've all had some meaningful, maybe relationships with each other, and some meaningless, and even some harmful. I think you get my gist, so I won't keep on about that. Nurture and teach the young. We do need to share with the young, obviously. We were young once. Maybe we are young now compared to some people. And people have taught us, whether it be our families, friends, obviously parents, teachers in school, and so on. And so we need ourselves now to teach the young. Whatever skills you have that are helpful, teach with a good attitude, with kindness and patience. Okay? By the way, I will digress a lot right now. Last week, I noticed when I posted or uploaded the video to the YouTube channel that last week was the 150th Zoom class that we recorded. We did do 2 classes prior to that. The first one we didn't sort of come out so great because the audio was bad. And the second one we forgot to record. So we have actually done 152, or this week, 153 Zoom classes. Of course, I remind you that on the YouTube channel, there's a lot more teachings as well when I've given guest lectures and so on, okay? So I just thought I'd drop that in there, 150 last week. I know that because I number them. And I like to thank Henneke for giving me that suggestion a long time ago, that I number the classes. I don't do it when I just post them, like today's class, for instance. I don't number it then. But when I put it on the YouTube channel or repost it on Facebook, and then it's numbered. All right. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So congratulations. Happy birthday. Or something like that. All right. So back to the teaching here. So nurture and teach the young, and also be kind to the nasty. If people are really nasty, then you can actually be kind to them. Sometimes by just turning it back, because maybe sometimes I think people, when they're nasty, need to be given the opportunity to listen to their voice, to listen to and observe their own nastiness. Sometimes you have to do that. We may not be perfect in picking the right times for that now. So silence may be a good thing for our own practice. Okay. So sometimes we need to go against, or I should mention this one first. So often, we should often deal with these difficult beings or people, which is the opposite way to how they are dealt with normally. So that's another point I'd like to make today, is normally these beings, they're either sharing their lives with people that are similar to them, and so, puffing up their ego and things like that, or good people quite often don't want to hang out with these types of people. So we need to go against the wind, and just maybe, you being a good person, if you are in contact with someone that behaves badly like this, then you communicating with them may give them the opportunity, something different for them. You're not like them, but also because you're not like them and you're giving them your time, this may be something really different for them, may be able to help them at that moment. Okay, so I think maybe 20 seconds to go. As always, I rejoice in your goodness, your merits. Have a lovely week ahead. I look forward to teaching you next week and sharing our time together. Take care of yourself mentally and physically. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo